This was important to me, and I'm trying to figure out why, okay? These people were important to me.
People? Who are these people? Like, I saw a letter from a woman. Who was that?
That was my writing teacher. She introduced him to me, you know, and she was there that summer. That's why I went to see her.
But
I'm trying to figure it out.
Why do you want to find them when you're the victim? I'm not saying that to...
Okay, I am not a victim. I don't need you or anybody to call me a victim, okay? Because you have a clue about my life. So we need to stop this now.
That's from the HBO film The Tale, starring Common and Laura Dern. And joining us now is the award-winning writer and director of the movie, Jennifer Fox. Jennifer, welcome. Jennifer, this is based on your life. It's based on a true story. At what point did you decide that you were ready to have this story come out of the darkness and be told in this manner? It's such a powerful movie, but sometimes very tough to watch.
Well, thank you. It really wasn't until I was 45, I was making another film, and I met so many women during the course of shooting this film that had experienced child sexual abuse or sexual trauma. And basically, I saw my own story for the first time, and I realized, in fact, what I'd called a relationship was actually child sexual abuse. And then I decided, okay, it's time to tell this story, and I began to work on a script.
Right. Was this therapeutic for you?
I think all art is actually, we make art to heal ourselves, so I'm blessed to be able to do a film like this, and yes, it's really interesting to investigate what actually happened to me and to share it with the world and hope that it's useful for other people to see how complex and nuanced child sexual abuse is.
Right, and this film is getting rave reviews at Sundance. How's everybody reacting to it?
Amazing. I mean, I just got off the phone with several interviews, and people actually don't want to let me go. They just want to talk and talk. I've never had interviews like that before.
Do you think because of the movement, the current hashtag, you know, Me Too movement, do you think that the timing of this movie coming out and what's going on in our culture, like, is a time for a movie like this?
It is time. I mean, if it hadn't been for the Me Too movement and Time's Up, I don't think we would be ready. But now that everybody has really admitted that this is happening all the time to many, many women, and not just now, but for generations, people are ready to really talk about what happens in the lives women lead.
How do you think men can be more empathetic to a film like this?
Well, I mean, I think as men, we have to understand that this is a situation that a lot of women have experienced. And within that, we have to be understanding, patient, listening. My character, actually, her who plays Jennifer in the films, her fiance, her boyfriend, you know, he has to be patient as she goes through her process, and he's really there as a good man, like, and that's why I really wanted to be a part of this. Was like, you know, you don't see sometimes good men in films like that. There's still a strong, loving man, but is able to, like, allow his partner to go through the things that she's going through and be a support. And it was written like, it wasn't like the guy saved her and any of those type of stories. It's like, yo, she found this for herself. He was just being a support. And I think that's what we as men have to do, be a support more than trying to think we can lead them out of the way.
Listen, man. In the movie, we see Jennifer confront her abuser.
Yes.
Have you had that chance to in real life?
In real life, no. That is one scene that I constructed from many conversations with him. I didn't want to confront him because the filmmaker in me wanted to keep the door open to keep talking to him. And I knew the minute I attacked him, he never would speak to me again. But I did speak to him many times and learned quite a bit about him that helped me build the character.
Okay, what were those conversations like? Because without telling away the movie, but I mean, when you were young, when you were 13, he provided the love that you were missing and thought you needed, right?
Exactly.
When you realized at 45 that that was terribly wrong,
right,
and you decided you wanted to have a conversation with this man who stole your virginity, how did that conversation go?
Well, for me, I was really curious why and how he saw this 13-year-old girl, and I looked like I was 9 and like a little tomboy.
Yeah.
How he saw this person, not Lolita, as somebody who would be interested in. So I really wanted to ask him about his history, his family history, and I learned that he had a really troubled background, despite the fact that he was a celebrated athlete. This is really typical that in the grooming process that a perpetrator who sexually abuses is not someone that looks bad or mean or evil. He looks like anybody, and often he's very well esteemed in the community, often in sports or in any job, and he's not visible. The media would like to make him seem like, oh, we will recognize those who abuse. No.
Right. Have you forgiven him?
I think so. I think I understand that he's really damaged.
Okay.
And nevertheless, I would love to stop anyone who is going to do that to any child.
Right, right. And this movie is also about the relationship between mother and daughter, too.
Exactly.
You see a lot of that on screen. Talk about that.
Well, the whole reason I decided to tell this story at this time was that my mother found something I wrote for English class that I called The Tale. And it was, in fact, a thinly veiled, true account of what happened with this coach. She found it when I was in my mid-40s, freaked out, and confronted me, and I admitted that it happened. And then she told me, well, you have to make a film. If you're not going to get him, then use your talent, make a film, and help the world. And so my mother became a partner in this journey of researching the film. She really wanted me to face the hurt that I had gone through, and she felt that making a film would help me do that. And I have to say, I learned a lot from her about mothering, because I'm 58, my mother's in her late 80s, and she was still in there trying to help me heal, to get better, even if it made her look bad.
Right.
She was in there mothering me even at this late age.
I was going to ask you, there was never a point when this was happening when you were young that your mother had a clue that this wasn't right, you know, when... Was there any heads up?
Oh, yeah, if you watch the film, my mom suspected...
I'm trying not to give it away. I'm like, we're saying too much, Val.
My mom suspected, but because of my age, it was 1973, and my mom was a typical housewife. And here was this famous athlete, you know, picking up her daughter, and she ran to my father, and my father basically said, you're being hysterical, as men can do to women. And, you know, here's this great man who's giving your daughter attention, who thinks she's special. What's wrong with this? And so she stuffed it down, as many women did at that time, and followed her husband. And in fact, it happened under her nose. Look, the reality is you can be a good parent and bad things can happen to your children. The thing is really to be there, to talk to them, to always be there no matter what. Even if your child grows up like me and is 45, and needs her mother's support now.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, both of you guys.
Thank you
for being here. And you had to have been ecstatic to have Common and the cast, Laura Dern.
I was so happy, and Common did an amazing job at really presenting a different kind of man. And he and Laura are hot on stage.
Yes. On stage, or that's it, right?
In the film.
Yeah, okay, in the film. All right. Well, be sure to catch The Tale on HBO on Saturday, May 26th at 9 p.m. We'll be right back.
Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to our ABC7 Chicago YouTube channel.